Matt covers everybody, Alabama, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Southern Mississippi, and he joins us now to talk about the game this weekend in Starkville. Good morning, Matt. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me, Gary. Good morning. And hey, I would say it is also weird is a good way to describe it. I think that was actually right on the button there. It is a little bit weird to cover across state lines, especially when you look at high schools and we've got two different sets of playoffs, but it's a lot of fun nonetheless.
Yeah, it's a lot to keep up with. This weekend, and we're going to get into your ties to Pennsylvania, and you've got a lot of good insight on Tommy Stevens, but Mississippi State has had a tough season, 4-5. But their last game a couple weeks ago, they lit it up in Fayetteville. Of course, Arkansas is really bad, but over 60 points, 600 yards of offense. Now they get the bye. Alabama's coming off a rare loss. Do you sense some optimism there with Joe Moorhead's team that they can hang with Bama tomorrow?
Yeah, they really needed that against Arkansas, didn't they? I mean, this was a team that was kind of flat. They had a lot of injuries that they were dealing with since the beginning of the season. Things that a lot of people forget is these suspensions. That had levied the program because of some issues that they had off the field. So if you really look at Mississippi State needed that win over Arkansas. And, right, it's Arkansas. They've been the punching bag for everybody. But to put up the numbers they did, and one of the most important things of that game was getting Tommy Stevens back healthy and him being able to operate and not have to be limited or favoring any kind of injuries at upper body, lower body, you name it. So you definitely sense the optimism around Mississippi State fans and probably even around the team this week and listening to Joe Moorhead's press conferences and such. But I'm not so sure if you still have the national kind of faith that those in Starkville have right now that this is going to be a close game.
All right, let's get to Stevens because it says on your bio you're a lifelong Nittany Lion. You're from Pennsylvania. You went to Penn State. You came down south to work at WTOK, and then Stevens comes south to get an opportunity to play quarterback for the Bulldogs as a graduate transfer, and a lot of high hopes for him going into the season. Injuries kind of derailed that a little bit, but he's back healthy. Of course, they have Schrader as well, so I'm expecting both guys to play. But tell us about Tommy Stevens. He certainly looks the part, 6'5", about 225 pounds, big arm, good athlete, but it never really happened for him there with the Nittany Lions, and now injuries have impacted him here. What kind of quarterback is he?
College football has really been an interesting experience for Tommy Stevens, to say the least. He lost the quarterback job at Penn State twice, and then, decided that he wasn't going to stay when James Franklin would not guarantee him that starting gig at Penn State this year, and went to his guy. I mean, Joe Moorhead, a guy who ran Tommy Stevens all around the field, played a little bit of running back, some wide receivers, some tight end, basically utilized Tommy however he could. And he also played some quarterback in the pop-up duty, and we had some extra packages for him at Penn State. But Tommy Stevens, I think the threat he poses to a young Alabama defense is the fact that he can take off and run. I'm not saying he's Nick Fitzgerald. I think a guy like Fitzgerald last year was a really, really strong runner. But Tommy Stevens, he's an athletic guy. And if you look at how Alabama's done against dual-threat quarterbacks with Plumlee out of Ole Miss, and even if you want to throw in Kellen Mond from A&M and even Joe Burrow with 94 rushing yards last week from LSU, I think Tommy has an ability to take off and run. That Joe Moorhead offense is set up for him to be able to run the ball. And that's kind of his strong suit. When he was at Penn State, one of the things that I noticed is that his arm strength was questioned sometimes. Can you make the deep throw that Trace McSorley could? In the accuracy as well. So I don't think he's quite the proven passer yet, but he can run, and he will knock somebody over. He's a big, big physical guy and not afraid to take a hit.
I ran a little clip with him last night on my sportscast on television, and I was reading up on the series because there's been a couple really tight games, including a couple years ago in Starkville. But, Alabama's won 11 in a row. And I think Mississippi State's been held to 7 points or less in like 7 or 8 of those games. I mean, they just had a hard time getting their offense untracked, including last year when they got shut out with Nick Fitzgerald here in Tuscaloosa. Joe Moorhead is known as an offensive innovator. At times, Mississippi State's looked really good on offense. At other times, they've struggled. What do you think coming off the bye week for them offensively? You think they'll put any little wrinkles in, maybe try to surprise Alabama with some things they haven't seen on tape? What are you expecting offensively, game plan-wise, from Moorhead and company?
Yeah, and when you look at traditionally how Joe Moorhead operates, I would not be shocked to see a wrinkle thrown in. I think he's actually been trying to get both Stevens and Garrett Schrader, the true freshman, on the field at the same time. Now nobody's confirmed that. Every time somebody asks, they just say, we might do it. It's a possibility. So that tells me that there is a package for that. Now, Schrader is obviously a really athletic kid. If you line him out wide, that is a way to get him in space as a ball carrier. But we've seen it at Penn State. They've ran two quarterbacks on the field. Actually, Tommy Stevens used to play a position there called the Lion, where he would literally be utilized in any way they needed him to catch the ball, to run it, even to block. So I wouldn't be surprised if they maybe come out and you see 7 and 6 on the field at the same time. Maybe 6 is the one taking the snap. Maybe 7's out wide. I think against a young Alabama defense, if you can throw them off in any sort of way, and then you got Kylan Hill, who makes them go. I mean, that guy's going to get it. He's going to get his. I think he's probably going to have at least another 100 yards rushing. If Alabama is able to hold him to under 100 yards, that's something a lot of teams haven't done. But no, that offense I don't think is going to be an issue. I think the defense is the problem this year for Mississippi State, which is crazy considering how good they were last year.
Right. When you look up, let's say, late in the third quarter, early in the fourth quarter, do you think this is still a game? You think Mississippi State can get it into the fourth quarter with a chance to pull the upset?
I don't, Gary. I'm really not convinced. I think it's, there's a lot of optimism, and I get the bye week, and a lot of people think, you're catching Alabama at the right time. I kind of disagree. I think that Alabama now knows what's in front of them, and they now know that they have to play their best football the rest of the season because they don't really control their own destiny. So all they can do is win and win impressively to have a chance to be in the conversation. And I really don't think Mississippi State is cut out to go in the trenches with Alabama. I think when you look at guys like Raekwon Davis, who's actually right here from Meridian,
right.
You know that, and he's a guy who's been kind of silent this year. And I think that against Mississippi State's offensive line, I think they can create some sacks. Tommy Stevens has been known to take off and run, but he's also been hit a lot in the pocket. I question him as a pocket passer, if he's really comfortable to step up back there. And because sometimes take off and run, you're going to get sacked. So I really don't, Gary. I don't think this is going to be much of a game. I think Alabama will cover and cover pretty easily here.
All right, Matt, final 30 seconds or so. I guess we can stretch it to 45. You know Joe Moorhead well, having been up there at Penn State while he was coaching. He's a likable guy. I think Mississippi State fans want to wrap their arms around this guy. That's the sense I get. But last year with a dominant defense, I saw them up close. I thought Mississippi State defensively could play with anybody. They went 8-5, which I thought was a little bit of an underachieving record with that cast that he had on the defensive side of the ball. And now this year they got to win 2 of these final 3 just to get bowl eligible. Long term, you think this guy's going to make it there or not?
I actually think he will. I think he's going to be okay. He's an excellent coach. He needs a little more time to get his guys in there. Year 2 at Penn State was very special for Joe Moorhead. I do think that he will have a chance here. And they did extend him before the season. They have faith in him. I think he's a genius. I just have a lot of respect for the way he coaches, and I get it that it's not going to happen overnight for Mississippi State. I, for one, picked them to be 9-3 this season, and I thought they were going to be just a really good football team, and I was wrong about that. So, but I do give him a chance, and I really hope it works out for him because he is a great guy, and I hope that people don't run him out of town right away. He's gonna be all right. He just needs some time.
Matt Freiler, sports director, WTOK-TV in Meridian. You can follow him on Twitter at MattyFreshTV. And will you be in Starkville tomorrow?
I will not be actually heading to Oxford.
Okay, you're going on up to Ole Miss. Okay, yeah, well, that's a big one tomorrow night for sure. Hey, thanks for the time, Matt.
No problem, Gary. Thanks for having me this morning.